All right, I'm gonna go get some shopping. Do we need anything?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I have a list here. So we need tomatoes.
Tomatoes, but fine.
We need vitamins.
Vitamins.
And we need some herbs.
There's an H in it. Herbs. Herbs.
We also need a vase.
Why do we need a vase?
We definitely need some water.
What are you saying?
Water.
What are you saying? What is this word?
Water, like from a tap.
Water?
Oh, water. Oh, and don't forget to pick up some aluminum.
What do we need aluminium for? Honestly, it's aluminium. Can we just get divorced, please?
Hello and welcome to English in Brazil. I'm Karina and today we're going to talk about the main differences between British and American English.
Hi, I'm Ali, I'm from Papa Teach Me and I'm British.
O vídeo, é claro, tem legendas em inglês e em português e para ativar é só clicar aqui no símbolo que eu vou mostrar no comentário fixado. Alright? Let's get started. Alright, Ali, so many of my followers keep asking me which is the best accent or which is the right one. Should I learn British English or
Yes.
American English?
No.
What do you think about it?
British.
And I think they should learn the American one because it's...
Wrong. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding.
I know. So they should learn whatever they feel like, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever they want to.
Totally.
Yeah, because...
For some people it's easier to do the American accent, some people the British.
So what are the main differences between the American and the British accent? I think one of the biggest differences is the R sound.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. American English is what we call rhotic. So if you're representing American English.
Okay.
Like
From South America. It's American anyway. All right.
Yeah, the cool America.
So I would say air, for example.
Right, so you really pronounce that in air, right? I don't. British people, we are non-rhotic. So it means any R sound is very soft. So air becomes air.
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 Air. It's so beautiful.
Air.
Air. Air. In Brazil, like, yeah, we say eh.
Really?
Yeah, eh.
I've heard you say na.
Ne.
What does that mean?
Isn't it?
Oh, is that
Na.
what that is?
Ne.
Oh, cool.
And what about hard?
Yeah. So again, you made the R sound hard. We would say hard.
Chair.
Chair.
Were.
Were.
Ear.
Ear.
Pure.
Pure.
More.
More.
Here.
Here.
Bar.
Bar.
Beer.
Beer.
Source.
Sauce.
So I parked my car in front of the bar and ordered a beer.
Okay, so I did say that we don't pronounce the R in words. Like bar, we wouldn't say bar, but when the next word begins with a vowel sound, or if it is a vowel, for example, bar, in, we would pronounce that R. So barin.
Yeah, I watched your video about it.
You watched it?
He has a very nice video. I'm gonna leave it here in the card, so you have to watch that video. It's
In
so
the
nice.
card?
Yeah. Did I say
The
card?
card?
In the card. You
The
see?
card.
You can find it here.
Today you're British.
Just click on the card.
You should change your channel to British English in Brazil.
British English in Brazil.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work because my British English is terrible.
But after today, it's going to be perfect.
Okay, you have to teach me. All right. So you would say?
Oh yeah, so instead of I parked my car in front of the bar, it would be I parked my car in front of the bar. We link the car in with a R sound, car in.
And order a beer.
Ah, right, but then with beer, that nothing follows that. So that is not beer, it's just normal beer.
And what about ordered?
Ordered.
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 Ordered a beer.
Ordered a beer.
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 Another difference is the T sound.
Yes.
Yeah, when followed by an unstressed vowel, right? So for example, better.
I would say better.
So Americans use a flap D, so better, just like, it's similar to our R sound in aranha, for example, just a tap, a língua só bate ali, sorry for
What
speaking
is that?
Portuguese.
Língua what?
Bate,
Bate?
Yeah.
Língua bate?
a língua só bate uma vez, so
A
better.
língua só bate uma vez?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay,
cool.
so better, better.
Better. However,
However,
yeah, so in like Cockney accents or Essex accents, they would usually glottalize that T. You know how to do the glottal T, I think.
Yeah, better.
Exactly that.
Turn down for... I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so you've also got the glottal T option. However, it's kind of seen as a bit uneducated, not super well spoken. So I wouldn't recommend it when it's T between two vowel sounds.
Water.
Water.
Water. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Do you like it?
Yeah, can you make a sentence with water, please?
Is the water better in Brazil or England?
I think it's better in Britain. Britain? Oh my God. Here in England.
Okay, that's an exception. We would say Britain.
Britain. Yeah.
We would glottalize that.
Britain.
The poshness doesn't matter. It doesn't make you sound less well spoken. Britain.
Britain.
Yeah.
Britain. Right here. Writing.
Writing.
Bottom.
Bottom.
Native.
Native.
Native. I think sometimes I use the T sound like a British person would use. I don't know why. Maybe it's a transfer from Portuguese to English. I don't know. But it's funny because I have a kind of a Brazilian/American accent, but sometimes I say native. I don't know why.
The correct way.
We're just kidding, right? There's no right way. You'd better drink more water.
You'd better drink more water. You should try the Cockney way.
Okay, and now the Cockney way. You'd better... No.
Try it.
You'd better drink more water.
You'd better drink more water.
You'd better drink more water. That's so hard. Okay, I'm trying, right? You'd better drink more water.
That sounds great.
I'm from London. And you know what? Sometimes Americans just delete the T when it's followed by a nasal consonant. For example, advantage would be advantage.
Right.
Would you do this in British English?
No.
No, you would never say advantage.
Advantage? Ugh. No, that sounds awful. No. Advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely need that T.
And what about internet? Would you say internet?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Internet. Oh.
Yeah, Americans do it all the time. Atlanta. They say
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta.
You would never do this, right?
No.
And what about the A sound? So, for example, Americans would say class.
Yeah.
How would you say class?
Well, in the north of England, they would also say class.
Okay, yeah.
There's a big difference between Northern English accents and Southern English accents. So Northern English, it's divided by what we call the trap bath split. It means that A sound in the north of England, they would say class, bath, laugh. Whereas in the south of England, we say class, bath, laugh.
Why you drink tea? Because it's so posh.
With the pinky out.
Okay. Class. So classy.
So classy.
All right, so you would use the sound.
I would, yeah, because I'm from London.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about ask?
I thought you were going to say, like, ass.
No, ask.
But also, we would say ass.
What's the spelling of this word? Because actually it's not A-S-S, because
No.
there's A-R-S-E, right?
Right, A-S-S is a donkey. A-R-S-E, that's the way we say it, ass.
Yeah, it's a bad word, actually. Yeah. Okay, so after,
After.
ask,
Ask.
bath,
Bath.
castle,
Castle.
laugh,
Laugh.
last,
Last.
and then can't.
Oh, yes, yes.
How would you say that?
Right, so in American English, it's very similar.
Yeah, so similar. Sometimes we can't even hear the difference. Yeah.
Right, so even then, like, there's a part of me that will think, are you saying can or the way I say can't?
It's much more clear in British English, the difference between can and can't.
Yeah, can, can't.
Can't. And what about the other bad word?
Yes.
Does it have a different pronunciation?
Right, yeah, so, okay, the word fuck, am I allowed to say fuck on your channel?
Well,
You probably bleep
said.
it, right?
Yeah,
Okay, the F word.
Okay, the F word.
If we imagine the F word is like one of the worst words, the strongest words you can use. The one that kind of sounds like can't is even stronger than the F word.
It's a terrible word.
Well, we have to say it.
Okay, this is for educational purposes, all right? So what is the difference between I can't and the bad word?
So in the bad word, it's the same phoneme as in up. It's cunt.
For educational purposes, right? Yeah.
up. However, can't, it's a longer sound. That's the easy way to look at it. But also it's a different sound altogether. It's the same sound as in car. Car with nt. Can't.
Can't. And cunt.
Make it a bit longer.
Okay, because you were smiling. Because it sounded like the bad one.
Yeah.
Can't.
That sounds better, yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Can't.
That sounds perfect.
So Mary had her last class.
Mary had her last class.
And now the I sound. So how would you say a word like organization?
I'd say it the same way, organization. However, my grandparents would have said organization.
Okay, so people don't talk like that anymore. Like most people.
Yeah, kind of, but also sometimes I will say organization, sometimes I will say organization.
There's no right or wrong here, of course.
No, it's like the either thing. Neither is correct or incorrect. It's just sometimes I say this,
Either?
sometimes I say this.
Either? And what about direction? Would you say one direction or one direction?
I'd say assholes.
Oh my god. You don't like them.
I don't see the appeal, but
Many of my followers love them, so they're gonna hate you now.
I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. One Direction. I say One Direction.
Direction?
Duh.
Okay, one
But
direction.
some people say One Direction.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I think nobody in America would say direction, so this is something that varies here,
Oh, yeah.
but not in the US.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, British.
So, let's talk about the difference between O and O.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So,
All right, so Americans would say, no, I don't know. How would you say that?
no, I don't know.
Yeah, you see the difference? It's different. I don't know. It's another phoneme, right?
Yeah, I mean, so American English, it comes from more the mid and the back of the mouth, so it sounds louder. We think Americans sound really loud.
Yeah, and I think you sound so low because sometimes when I want to talk to a British person, I was trying to record a guy at a pub and I couldn't hear what he was saying because he speaks so low.
Did you think he was mumbling?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You
You don't articulate the sounds like we do. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, you're completely right. It sounds like we mumble because we speak from the front of our mouths.
You don't because you're a teacher.
Yes.
But people around the city here, there's
Yeah.
like. That's
When you walk around, you just see people doing that.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we greet each other.
Show,
Show.
road,
Road.
no.
No.
No, I don't want to go to the show.
No, I don't want to go to the show.
And there's another difference in words like nu, for example. Would you say nu or something else?
If I said new or in the news, which I sometimes do, my mum will be very angry with me. She says, no, it's new.
New.
It's in the news.
In the news.
With that ny sound. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little I sound there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Tune.
Tune.
YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. Tube. You use a ch sound
When it,
here.
yeah, so when it's tu, we say ch, like the tube.
The tube.
You took the tube here.
Oh, really? So you use a ch sound here. I
Yes.
took the tube.
Yeah.
And what about during?
During.
During.
Or during.
During. With
Yeah.
a j sound.
Right, if it's du, it's j.
J. During. And then, of course, there are other differences, like for very specific words. For example, schedule.
Yeah, we pronounce it schedule.
Very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Although sometimes I say schedule because,
You're becoming an American.
yeah, I mean, so
Maybe it's because of the American influence here, isn't it?
definitely, yeah, British and American English are slowly coming together.
Oh. Tomato.
Tomato,
Vase.
vase,
Vitamin.
vitamin,
Herb.
herb,
Mobile.
mobile,
Aluminum.
aluminium.
Okay, Ali, so what's the conclusion here?
It's the same as before. British English is the correct one.
Ai, meu Deus, ele não aprendeu a lição ainda. Esqueçam o que o Ali tá falando, quem não sabe de nada.
What?
You're so kind, that's what I was saying.
Thank you.
Ele não sabe de nada. Na verdade, não há um dialeto melhor que o outro, não há um inglês melhor que o outro. O inglês hoje é de todo mundo e não é nem só dos falantes nativos, of course.
You're really kind in your videos.
Yeah, I know. So, if you guys like this video, what should I do, Ellie?
Well, I mean, we made another one, so you could probably watch that by clicking here-ish
Maybe here, on the card.
on the card. Click this card right here to watch our other video.
Yes, and don't forget to subscribe to his channel as well because you have a lot of playlists on grammar and vocabulary, what else? Everything.
Literally everything. Also, subscribe to Karina's channel if you haven't already. Maybe this is your first Carina Fragozo video and you're like, holy crap, she's amazing.
Oh my god, thank
So
you.
make sure you click that subscribe button there.
Yes.
And the like one.
Yeah, all right, enough. Stop telling them what to do and let's say goodbye now.
Bye.
Bye.